Good morning, my name is Rebel, and today I'm going to show you how you can introduce circular and spiraling motion using the shape nodes editor inside of YasK. So the first thing you want to do is center your viewport. Let's bring up the shape nodes editor context. We're going to introduce a shape. Let's take the trusty old arc, and we're going to give that arc a position. So the position we're going to set to some offset that's going to be, roughly this, or that's going to be at the center of the 200 by 200 viewport. So what we're actually going to do for that is combine a vector from these two values that are going to be 100 by 100, or 100 and 100, and we're going to add to those to get our circular motion. So let's take 100 on the Y. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm gonna make it. Of course. I have the least steady hands in the world. I have 100 on the x-axis. There we go. Let's see. Much better that second time. So now we have this center, and anything that we add to that is going to be our offset. So in order to get our circular motion, we're going to want a sine and a cosine function. And we're going to give ourselves a little distance here because we're going to actually use that space up momentarily. We're going to take the sine and cosine values and we're going to add them to that x and y value offset. So let's get a value here. If we plug it into the x-axis, or the sine function, gives us a little bit of a wiggle on the x-axis, and if we plug it into the cosine function, it's going to give us a little bit of a wiggle on the y-axis. And if we plug it into both axes, oh, there we go, that's where we get our circular motion from. The reason we left this little bit of space here is because we don't want it just rotating around one unit. We're going to give it some magnitude. So in order to give it some magnitude, we're going to want a couple multiply nodes here. And the value that we give to these multiply nodes is going to constitute our magnitude by which we increase. Wait, this is supposed to go here as well. There we go. That was a little weird way to start that. So let's get our value. We're going to plug our x and y axis into that, and so this will actually be our distance from that center, which will be 100 and 100 here. Damn, so now we're offsetting by 26, or the distance by 26.5 units as this increases. But let's go ahead and make that a little bit more interesting. We're going to start off first by making this spiral, and the way that we can make that motion spiral is simply by increasing the magnitude proportionally as the value entered to the sine and cosine functions increases. So we're going to take another multiply node here, and we're going to multiply these two, and we're going to crank this value way down because we don't have it set to a hard distance now. We now have that magnitude set, so that's how much it's going to steadily be increasing by over time. And if you have that set to a high value, it's just going to yeet off into the void pretty much instantaneously. So now it's going to have spiraling motion, and the higher that you have that magnitude set to now is the quicker that the increase will occur. So if you want, a much steeper pitch spiral, that's when you increase that to a higher value. I'm going to set it somewhere around the 1 value. I've got around x right here. Another thing that we can do, which is also why I might have laid these out a little bit of funky, is that we're going to actually give this an elliptical shape by separating our values. Let me get another multiply node here. Our x and y values that we multiply these by. And now take this one here and this one here, so that instead of having the hard value, or not hard value, the shared value, we're going to have a ratio between the x and y. So along the x-axis, say that's 2.3, and along the y-axis is going to be something smaller, like 0.8. And so as this increases, we now have this elliptic motion, and that's going to maintain that ratio between these two nodes while increasing at the rate of, or at this increased rate right here. So now we've mastered circular motion, spiraling motion, and elliptic motion all in just a few minutes. This is just achieved with a few math nodes. The next I'm going to introduce resource nodes very soon, and that's when things are going to get extra spicy. So keep an open eye out. Probably about a week I'm going to have a very interesting update, and we're going to have even more to show off.